Have you ever wondered, why do we use baking soda in cookies? And which one of these cookies do you think has it? Today we are learning all about this and more with my cookie science experiment. Hi everyone, I'm Emily Calandrelli, MIT engineer and host of Emily's Wonder Lab, and on my channel we learn about all things space and science. So grab some sugar, because today's experiment is gonna be sweet.
Emily's Science Lab, stay curious and keep exploring. Emily's Science Lab, stay curious and keep exploring.
Baking soda is used as a leavening agent in baked goods, but what does that mean? Today, I am going to teach you all about this with my cookie science experiment. So what we're going to do is make 2 batches of chocolate chip cookies, one with baking soda and one without. We have a bowl for our dry ingredients and a bowl for our wet ingredients. And the only difference between the 2 recipes is one has baking soda and one doesn't. And before we start mixing everything, make sure you preheat your oven at 375. So for our dry ingredients bowl, we need 1/4 teaspoon salt and 1 1/8 cup of flour. You'll notice that some of these ingredient measurements are a little bit weird. It's because I took a big cookie recipe and then just cut it in half so that we didn't end up with a bunch of extra cookies. So how you do 1/8 is simply take your 1/4 cup and fill it halfway. For your wet ingredients bowl, you need 3/8 cup brown sugar, 3/8 cup granulated sugar, 1/4 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1/2 cup softened butter, and 1/2 of an egg. So the way that we do this with our egg, we're going to crack it open, mix it up, use half for this recipe and the other half for the other one. So let's go ahead and make our dry ingredients bowl. First our flour, and now our salt. And that's it for this one. We're not adding anything else to our dry ingredients. Just go ahead and mix that up. Perfect. And now for our wet ingredients bowl. Gonna first add our sugars, granulated sugar, brown sugar, vanilla, softened butter. Whoop. And now let's go ahead and break our egg open. Okay, we're going to mix our egg up. And now I'm just gonna eyeball it, and we're gonna use half for this one. Whoop. Good. And we'll save the other half for the other recipe. So we're gonna mix our wet ingredients together. Now mix your wet and dry ingredients. Add chocolate chips and set that aside. We're going to quickly mix up our second batch. Now for the second batch of cookies, we are adding baking soda to our dry ingredients. Here we have a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and I want you to just look at how much that is. It's not very much, right? This is the difference between the 2 cookies, and when you see the results, I think you'll be pretty surprised, because that's not that much powder to change a result, right? It's a small, powerful ingredient that elicits a big result. You'll see in a second, it's very cool. Okay, so I'm gonna mix that in. We are going to add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients. So here's what's happening with the baking soda. So the baking soda is a base. It's sodium bicarbonate. And do you remember what happens when we add vinegar to baking soda? It bubbles, right? It kickstarts an acid-base chemical reaction that creates carbon dioxide bubbles. But we don't have any vinegar in this recipe, right? But what else do we have? We have sugars. We have brown sugar and granulated sugar, and guess what? Those are also slightly acidic. So the baking soda is reacting with those sugars to create small little carbon dioxide bubbles. It's not super obvious. You can't really see the bubbles brewing as you mix this, but believe me, they're there. And when you feel the dough, you'll be able to feel that one is a little bit softer and fluffier, and the other one is a little bit more hard and granular. You'll notice the difference before you even bake the cookies. Now that we've mixed our dough, it is time to add our chocolate chips. I am a big fan of mini chocolate chips, and if you use smaller chocolate chips, you need less because they just take up more of that cup. So I'm gonna just use 1/2 cup. If you are a chef or a baker at home, Like, you know how to make chocolate chip cookies. I will leave that expertise to you. I'm just talking about the science here, okay? Don't come at me in the comments, please. So we have our perfect chocolate chip dough. And now all we're going to do is make cookies like you normally would. Now that we have our cookie dough for our cookies with baking soda and our cookies without baking soda, we're just gonna roll them in little balls and put them on a parchment-lined baking sheet. I like to do these side by side so that we can cook them all at the same time, so that all of the other variables are the same for these cookies, because we're doing science, right? Okay, so these are the ones without baking soda. I'm just going to do 3 in a line here, and you want them to all be about the same size, and just put them in little balls, just like you would any normal cookies. 6. Okay, so these are the ones with baking soda. We're gonna do them the exact same way, the exact same size. Roll them in little balls. They're all meant to look the same here. So here we go. We have the ones with baking soda and the ones without baking soda. And if you forget, it's okay, because it'll be quite obvious after they're done baking. So now we're going to put this in the oven at 375 for 8 to 11 minutes, depending on how crispy you want your cookies to be. Our cookies are ready. Okay, what do we have here? Remember, these were the cookies without baking soda, and these cookies that probably look more like the cookies you're used to seeing are the ones with baking soda. So why did the ones with baking soda spread out while the ones without kind of just look like a clumped ball, the same shape that we basically made them in, right? If baking soda is a leavening agent, why are the taller ones the ones without baking soda? Well, the reason is because baking soda reacts with the sugars and it creates those teeny tiny carbon dioxide bubbles. Well, that allows the dough to grow and stretch and spread out as it cooks. And so it made it more flexible, and it's going to make it more chewy when we bite it. And so the ones that spread out are the ones that had that baking soda chemical reaction, where the ones that didn't really move at all are the ones without those teeny tiny bubbles, the ones without the baking soda. Thanks for making cookies with me. I'm Emily Calandrelli. Subscribe for all things science and space and cooking, apparently. And remember, stay curious and keep exploring. I'll see you next time.
Emily's Science Lab.